So, a very good afternoon to all of you. I welcome you, Mr. Rishabh Vasa. He is a co-founder and the of the Agraha Technology and Avas.com, and he is also the part of Google Developer Expert, Cloud Mentor, and the Google Force Startup. So I kindly request you, Mr. Rishabh Vasa, to deliver the session for our students, and I'm sure it will definitely be helpful and needful for our student. So again, I welcome you on behalf of Parul University. Welcome, Mr. Rishabh Vasa.
Hey, thank you. Thanks, Power University, for inviting me for this talk. Uh, as you know, today's topic, which is BigQuery. So, in case you guys have any question, you can put it in chat or comments. Maybe a moderator can help me share those questions between or in the end of the session. Right? And just to kind of start, let me just introduce myself. As Aarti mentioned, I'm Rishabh Asa. I'm co-founder of Agri Technologies. I'm also Google Developers Expert for Google Cloud, and also mentor for Google for startups. So that's about me. And right, so let me just I hope you all can see my screen. Right. So today, what I'm going to talk about is the BigQuery and how can we use BigQuery to get the meaningful insights of the data. Right? We all know that how data is important. You all would have heard the buzzword about the data is the new oil, and how data-driven insights analytics are helping businesses grow faster. So similarly, how we can build this kind of insights, or how can we get insights from the existing data? That's what we're going to talk about. And for that, we'll be using the tool called BigQuery, which is a part of the Google Cloud platform. So let me just first introduce you to the BigQuery. So what is BigQuery? Well, BigQuery is Google's fully managed, very highly scalable, low-cost enterprise data warehouse. Data warehouse is nothing but where we host petabytes of data, in size, and of course, BigQuery is serverless. That means there is no infrastructure to manage. You don't need any database administrator. You don't need any additional IT admin or network administrator to manage your database. You can just focus on analyzing data to find meaningful insights using the familiar SQL queries that you already know. Right? So you don't have to learn anything new as such. Uh, and since there is no infrastructure for you to manage, you would have often heard that serverless as a very used term in the IT sector, but it's not truly serverless because servers are of course there, but you don't have to deal with it. That's why it's called serverless. And what you have to focus is only on getting the data and analyzing it, and you don't have to worry about scaling up and scaling down of your server, and also you don't have to configuration worry about the configuration updates or any that sort of stuff. That's the BigQuery. Right. Now, what is the power of BigQuery? Uh, the BigQuery is something which can scale into petabytes. So you can, or like GBs of data, TBs of data, but it is more than that. Like you can actually take petabytes of data, and then you can run query on those data. Uh, just imagine any if you are running an application or if you have a product which is collecting millions of data points every day. So you would have seen not all these startups or the new apps that we use, maybe Paytm, Zomato, or any other. They all use huge data analytics in the backend. They all collect all the data that you do. For example, whatever you click on your application, wherever you click on certain things, wherever you perform any operation on the application, all this data is shared, and that data is stored in some data warehouse, right? But the data is only useful when you use it. Like only storing will not help, and that's where you can use this petabyte scale of data to store this data, and that's where BigQuery comes into the picture. Also, it is very fast. So you can input and output TBs of data in seconds. So you can imagine the speed. Like if you have a lot of data and if you want to run a query, it takes hours. But where in BigQuery's case, you can run almost 1 lakh rows per second table through streaming API. So that's when you can stream 1 lakh rows per second in your table through any streaming API that you're using. So that is kind of scale that it has. Uh, Again, it's very simple. We'll see a demo as well that though it's very powerful, how simple it is to use that. And you can also connect with your Hadoop data set, which is your big data, or you want to connect with R or pandas or data flow and so on. And also at a security level, it's very highly secured, and it has a lot of security features as well. We'll talk about that also in later part. Now, how this BigQuery architecture is built. Just to before we even see this big, what is BigQuery and how does it look like? Let's first understand that what how the BigQuery is built off. So BigQuery is actually based on the Dremel, which is a technology which is built by Google, and it is extensively used within. So Google's lot of products internally use this technology for their huge data set. Like imagine the Google search, kind of data they have, or Gmail, or any other YouTube, for example, these services. So and this service is used Dremel as their querying service that runs on the SQL queries, against like the huge database, like millions of trillions of rows. And the BigQuery is also based on the same technology that Google uses internally. It uses multi-link level execution tree to achieve this performance of this level, or the speed, and that's why it is multi-level execution. Uh, Also, BigQuery's performance comes from its architecture, which is a parallel processing. So it parallelly processes huge data sets in the backend, so that performance is improved. How the BigQuery storage works, basically, it's a column-oriented storage that reads the data from the column, and compared to all the row-oriented storage, which are very traditional, like you've seen the row-oriented databases, right? So this is a column-oriented storage. Now, what is the performance of BigQuery? So again, as I said earlier, it can scan up to TBs of data in a second or petabytes of data in minutes. At the same time, it can also help you connect with third-party tools like Looker, Tableau, Zoom Data, or even uh, you know Data Studio. We'll see a demo so that when you have a data, you can import that data into BigQuery, you can run the query, and how can you visualize it? I mean, that's the whole part. Like, if you have a data, like, how can you get insights out of it? So that's where we use Data Studio to get the insights of the data that's available. And again, you can connect with any external sources of the data, so that whenever you have some sort of understanding about the data and you want to connect with any external source, you can do that. And that kind of helps uh, to uh, get you better analytics and more creatively uh, derive the insights from your data. Now, how do you ingest data into the BigQuery? How do you add or load data into the BigQuery? That's very. There are multiple ways you can do that. That's very interesting because you would have like massive data. For example, as I said, you can stream up to 1 lakh rows per second, real time. Let's say there is a you can you can imagine a use case where, let's take an example of Ola. Right, Ola has multiple rides running across India every hour, every minute, right? And imagine that every second's location is going to the database real time. That's how you can track. So this entire messaging, or the pushing the data back to the database, BigQuery supports this kind of scalability where you can push this data every second. Uh, Also, you can do this interactively. You'll see that you can upload a file through the web. Let's say we have a database in CSV, you can upload that file through the web UI, or you can use BigQuery command line utility to upload the file from a local PC, or it will work with some TBs of data as well. So you can use Google Cloud Data Flow, which is a data pipeline framework that allows you to stand out the ETL sort of transmission job, so that you can take the data from the incoming source, manipulate the data, and write them into some target repository. Data flow works very beautifully with uh, uh, with data flow, right? So that's very important for you to kind of, let's say, if you're building some application, and if there is a data which is being collected through the application, and you hosted that application on any cloud platform, so you can, using data flow, you can get this data from any source to BigQuery. So you can, so I basically what it means is you can easily process and stream data from any. external data sources to BigQuery engine. And now you can also regularly set up your, like, let's say, uh, there is a inbuilt option where you can easily get your YouTube data or your Google Ads data or even Google Analytics data, and you want to analyze those data, you can do that as well. Also, you can there are a lot of data connectors which are available that will allow you to easily transfer the data from Teradata as a service, or Teradata is a service, or Amazon S3. Let's say if you are using AWS, and if your data is stored on S3, you can use these data connectors to transfer from S3 to BigQuery. Now, availability in Access, that's very important. Like, when you are running something like this, which is a huge data set, and if you are running it to get the business insights out of it, it's very important that availability and accessibility is, always is 100% there. So that's where BigQuery's entire, or the GCP's entire architecture comes into the picture. It gives you the 99.9% SLA along with the encryption, so you don't have to worry about the security. You can have a set up IAM roles where you can define that who will have what kind of access rights or the user rights, and at the same time you can connect with external client with security. So this will actually help you secure your data along with making it, make sure that your data is available uh, 24/7 in multiple geographies. So that's very important. And the transfer data replication, which is possible in BigQuery, which is like it will have your data available in multiple geographies. So even in case of failure of one of the node, or let's say server failure happens, you can still have the data access because it will be available to another node or another server. So that's how this entire accessibility and service is managed by Google. Okay, what is the cost of it? Like, it's very important. Like, when you're using something, you really want to kind of make it cost effective, especially when you are dealing with huge data and you are running it regularly. The cost, but BigQuery is comparatively very cheap, and it is only like 0.02 GB per month. I mean, that is like, zero point zero 0.02 cents, which is less than a rupee, or around 1.5 rupees per GB. So that is the cost of storage of the data. You can also have a long-term storage where you will get more discount up to 5 GB, to 5 TB for the first TB is free, and after that there is a $5 per TB, uh, or for the queries. So if you have TB of data, if you're running a query on this entire set, for the first TB it will be free, but eventually then you pay $5 per TB, which is very reasonable compared to what you will get out of it. Also, you can go for a flat rate pricing, committed usage, and all. So yeah, when we are using some kind of these services, we really need to consider the cost factor as well, because that can be huge eventually when it grows. Now, you really need to understand one thing: is BigQuery is not your traditional database. So it is not something that you will use. Like, you might be using MongoDB or MySQL, or Oracle, or any sort of MS SQL, this kind of databases. These databases are just for storage. So you can do your CRUD operation on this data, but BigQuery is not that. So don't confuse with your traditional database and BigQuery. So BigQuery is a SQL database, but at the same time, it is not meant to be your transactional database. It's not advised to run a continuous transaction on this data. We suggest that you only use it when you really want to kind of run some insights, or you want to build some ML model on top of it. There's the BQML as well, the BigQuery ML, which allows you to create a ML, or the machine learning model, on your existing BQL data, and that's also very easy. So you don't need any kind of machine learning experience or coding experience for that. So you can use that as well. So on these cases, we suggest that you use BigQuery, but do not replace with your regular data sets like any RDBMS that you're using. Also, it's not an operational data set, so that means it is not for capturing the live data and then applying updates, delete, that sort of thing. And self-contained cloud-based solutions. It is not on-premise solution that you need to take care. Now, let me just kind of, like, I give you some overview about BigQuery, but let me also share. Let's do a demo. Basically, let me show you how this entire BigQuery looks like and how easy it is to use it. That's very interesting to see. I'm sure you would definitely like it once you see it. and you can definitely try this later. Let me share my other screen. All right, so this is the Google Cloud Console. You all can see. Like, you go to GCP. Let me just take you over here. This is how the GCP console looks like. You all would have seen this Google Cloud platform. If not, you can just sign up. There are $300. There's a free tier, so you don't have to put any credits or anything. You just start using it initially. Now, if you see this, it's very easy. You just go here and type BigQuery. And you will be here into the BigQuery console. This is how the BigQuery console looks like. Here, as we discussed, ways to add the data. You can see these are the ways where you can add your data. So, for example, there are a lot of public data sets also available. What does it mean is, let's say if you want to run some kind of ML model, you can use any public data set to do this. At the same time, this data set is available for free. So let's say if you want to run some analytics or some analytics or some build some ML on COVID data, you can use this COVID public data set. Or if you want to use something for the research, you can use this kind of public data sets. So these are basically some data that you will have handy when you want to do some analysis, or analytics and all. And there are different categories of data which is available. There is data for healthcare, security, news, and so on. So you can, for example, you want to run something Google Trends. So let's say if you are an e-commerce company and you want to run some prediction that, okay, in which season which product has more demand. Like, for example, in rainy season, maybe umbrella would have more demand. In summer, maybe light clothes would have more demand, and so on. So how would you forecast this? So you can use BigQML. That's a BigQuery ML. And use the public data set because they have, and you can predict, okay, this is the kind of demand that we can expect in the near future. Same could be for any category. So this is one of the way where you can use these data sets. Other is you can use external data source. As we discussed, you can connect with the API and connect with your any external data source like Oracle or Amazon AWS S3 or anyone, any this thing. So let's just see a very simple demo. First, what you do is you create one project in the BigQuery. It's already there. And in the project, you just need to create one data set. Now, data set is nothing but a collection of tables. So if you have multiple tables, you can connect it over here. So let's say if I give a data set name is demo data set, and you can select the region as you want. I'll keep it default. But if you want it, like, you can select any cloud region that you want to create a data set. And then here you can set up your custom key that is for the security. If not, you can use the Google managed key as well. And you can just click on the create data set, and the data set is created. That's it. It is like that. It's as easy as that. But when you do that, this is, as I said, data set is nothing but a collection of tables. What next is how we can create the table. Now here is the option where you can open this data set. It will give you some basic information about the data set that you have created. And in that there is the option to create table. You can also share it with your colleagues, or if you want to give that roles or assign permissions, you can do it from here. Or you can create a table. Now, when you create table, there are multiple ways. As I said, you can get the data in from into the table. So you can take the data from the GCS, which is the Google Cloud Storage, or you can use Drive. You can use Cloud Table, Big Table, or S3, or you can also upload. So let's just, for a demo, I'll show you that how you upload it. So when you say, okay, I'll upload the file, it will ask you to upload a file. So let's say I have a 50,000 sales record file, CSV file. Let me upload. Let me select that file, and I can upload. You can also upload in CSV and in other formats as well. These are some, or you can take it to JSON or ORC. I've selected a CSV file. Here I have to give the table name. So let's say I give it as a table. Here it is very important to select this. It's a schema basically, so that it will automatically take the columns from the sheet and make them as the schema for the table. Or you can do it manually also. You can add more fields and then assign them. Like how we create in SQL, when you create table, how you can create the fields like whether it's integer, float, BigQuery, date, time, all these things. You can do that, or you can just select auto detect and it will take care of it. So you don't have to do anything. And there are certain advanced options that if you want to use the field limiter as a comma or tab based on your file you have, which is not required. It's encryption as we saw earlier. It can be well managed encryption as well. So that's not required as of now. So what I'll do is I'll just click on the create table, and what it will do is it will take the CSV file that I have uploaded. It's nothing but a sales record. I just downloaded it from the internet. It has 50,000 rows, and yeah, it's done. The table is created, data is imported, like you can see, done, and you can see the table over here, right? Yeah. So see, it automatically took all the columns from the sheet and created into schema, means basically the fields of the table. You can also edit it from here or listen query. If you go to details, it will show you that okay, then what is the size of the table? It's 5.6 MB. It has 50,000 rows, and how and when it is created. When you go to preview, you can see the table, data in the table. So this is the data that we have into the table, right? So you can see there are 50,000 rows over here, and it has up to, you can see up to 2,000 rows in a screen, and you can keep scrolling. So this is the data that you can see. So basically, what we have done is we just created a basic table. We just imported some data into it, like you do in SQL or any other database, and it's done. Now here, from here, the entire BigQuery journey starts. Now here you can see the query, right? So if you go here and you do this, it will generate the query. This is where you can basically create a simple query. Let's say if I want to get some data, if I run any query basically, okay, let me select any particular uh, schema or any columns. So these are some of the fields that I can get. So I want to, let's say, get some, this is just a simple SQL query. If I run this, it will give me all the regions. I'm just writing a simple query, but it can be written in a very complex way, or we can create. So these are all the regions that we have got. This is the result you can see in the bottom. You can also write any count that you want to see how many sales you have, or you want to get some kind of insights from it. You can do all this thing. You can also save this query. You can save this as a view. So if you want to run this again, you can do that. You can schedule the query. Let's say if you want to run certain query every month or every week or every day, let's say at a particular time. Let's say if the sales data is updated every day, and you want to get that, so you can run a scheduled query over here. Also, you can show the translation and format the query in the way you want. So basically, this is like just running a simple query. But now imagine this 50,000 row is like some 50 million rows. It will work with the same efficiency and the same effect you will get. So this is about it. Now, what's more important is apart from this query is the visualization. That how does it look when you want to actually get the derived insights out of it. So let's say if I run uh, if I export, there is an option to export, and when I export, if I export it to Data Studio, it will show you how does it look like. Okay, can you see this? Right. So basically, this is what I did was I went to the BigQuery, I created export, and I selected data studio. And here I can see this, like, it gives me some basic, okay, how many records are there in each region. So let's say, Europe, there are some 10,000 records, Asia, some records, and so on. Right? But it's not only that. What you can do is you can actually visualize, you can create multiple tables, charts. So let's say if you want to see this particular sales record in a particular day, so you can just go and add, you can create new tab over here, you can create a new tab, and at the same time, you can see this country-wise data. So it will automatically start creating it. Or if you want to create some report out of it, right? So you can just go over here. There are a lot of data which are some of the templates which are available. So you can use that as well. Or you can create a blank report like this. And now here you can connect any of this data. So for example, let's say if you have analytics data that you want, you can use that as well. If you want to connect your Google Sheets, so there is a data in your Google Sheets, and if you connect that, you can do that as well. There is a you can connect your MySQL data, your Google Ads Manager data, and so on. So, these are some of the pre-built connectors which are available, which are built by Google, and there are some third-party connectors as well, like this. Like you can build your own connector basically, or you can use any sort of data which is provided by any third-party data provider. Like Adobe has Analytics 2 or Adverty, right? 360. So there are many connectors that you can use. Let's say in our case we want to connect a BigQuery, right? So it will show you all the data that you have. Let's say if I select the project, this is the data. This is the table that we created in the data set called demo table. I just select and add this as a data source. And if I add, it will create. See, this is how it is created. Now, if I want to visualize it in a different way, I can change the style from here, or I can select the different charts. Let's say I want to take it into the pie chart mode. You can do that as well. You can see that, okay, which region has the highest share of sales in the data that have, or it can be into the graph way as well. So these are some of the pre-built templates which are there, which you can use, and you can build your own as well. Let's say I want to map it into the Google map on a map, right? That, okay, region wise, what kind of sales I have. So this is how it will map. There are a lot of data, so it maps like that. But let's say if I want to see it country wise, then I can see it country wise. If I want to see it region wise, I just have to add a region, and then I have to see it region wise. See, so it is this easy. Like, you can just drag the data that you want from here, and you can see it, like how these things are built, right? So you can visualize it and it's all real time. So if the data is updated, this will also keep updating real time. So this is the kind of insight they can drive. Now this is a very basic demo I'm showing you, but now we can do multiple things, multiple joins. You can connect multiple tables and derive the data. I've just taken one data just to show you an example, but here you can see a lot more than what you can do. Apart from that, there are so many templates that you can use. There are so many controls that you can use. You can use filter control. Let's say if I want to add a filter, so I can add the filter here, and it will automatically select there. Okay, if the region contains India, I only want to do that. So this kind of logics you can build. You can have checkbox. You can date. If you want to use a date wise filter, you can use date control. You put it here, and it will show you a data from particular date. Let's say you want to see a weekly data, or you want to see data only for particular dates. You can do that as well. So when you select it over here, the data will be updated real time. So you can do that as well. So this is like an interactive reporting tool that you can use from your data. And when you go to view, it looks like this. And then, as I said, you can use this kind of controls to, run or get some data that you want. apply or I can apply this date. If there is any sales data during that day, you will see that. And you can share this report with anyone. So there is a share option where you can add the users that you want to share this report with, or you can share this as a link as well. So this is how you can use BigQuery and Data Studio together to collect the data, derive the insights out of it, and at the same time get some real meaning of your data. And that's very important. Like when you have a lot of data, if you don't kind of get the insights and predictions, it's very difficult to kind of understand what data you have and how useful it is, or whether it's useful or not. So right, that was a small demo actually that I wanted to show you. Let me get back to my presentation. I hope you guys would have understood basic that how you use the BigQuery and data. I can't see you guys, but you can just put into the comments if you have not understood anything. Please feel free to ask. So let me share my presentation again. All right. So we saw the demo how it works, how this entire real-time and how you can use the data studio to get the analytics. Now let me just take one more step, like how this real-time analytics works. Now this is very interesting topic, a very interesting thing that has come up, and you would have seen like if you are using any sort of Google Analytics tool or anything, you see the real-time data, like okay, how many people are currently visiting my website, or at this point of time how many people are using my app, who are those people, what are they doing. You can see everything in real time. It's not like something that the data would be updated after a day and you can do that. That's also the case, but now the trend is of the real time analytics. Like what's happening now, how many people are using my app now. For example, a lot of e-commerce site use that, how many people are browsing to certain product now, and based on that they have a dynamic pricing. If there is a lot of demand currently, if there are 100 people looking for a product, there are chances the price might go high, based on the demand. And that happens only through the real-time analytics, because they know, okay, this is what people are doing at this point of time, and this is the time where I can probably, increase my price or decrease my price and things like that. Or for example, I'm sure you all would have gone experienced this surge pricing with Ola and Uber. When there is a more demand, the price of the cab goes up. How this happens? It happens through real-time analytics. They know, okay, in this particular location there are some so many people are looking for cab versus the number of cabs they have in the location. If there are 10 cabs and 50 people are looking for the cab, the price will go up and so on. That's called surge pricing, right? So how this real-time analytics works, and definitely you can build something like this using BigQuery, and that's possible, right? So of course, because BigQuery has a high volume data, you need the data streamed real time. You should know that okay, there are 100 people right now at this point of time looking for a cab at this particular location. You need to collect this data. After you collect this data, you need few seconds to analyze it and immediately change it. Like you can't wait. Like you can't say, okay, there is a person looking at a cab at Power University now, and I'll change the price after half an hour. It will change, right? Because I want something now. After half an hour, people will go different ways. So you can do that. For that, you need where you have very few seconds, to analyze and get the insights of what happening. And at the same time, if you want to analyze the trend and get the, you also want to monitor it real time, you need that sensor, this kind of systems for it. How this looks? It's very easy. You have a BigQuery. We saw the BigQuery. There will be a cloud function or data flow or any other tool that you will use, and from that you can ingest the data into the BigQuery through streaming. So it will be a live streaming, and the rate is 1 lakh records per second that we saw earlier. So in 5 seconds, we will have 5 lakh data points of, let's say, 100 people looking at the cap. And where are they going? Let's say if you want to see that whether you want to give priority to the shorter distance cab or the longer distance cab. Okay. Usually what happens is, like if you are looking for a cab and if there is a one person who is looking for a cab for a 1 kilometer ride, and there is a person who's looking for a 2 kilometer ride, usually the 1 kilometer guy will see a higher price than the guy who wants to go for a longer run, because the actual pricing is kilometer pricing, right? So this kind of analysis, if you want to do real time, okay, there are two people looking at the cab and which one to prioritize, whom to show higher price, whom to show a lower price. You would have seen in Ola Uber, no one ever gets the same price. Even if you're standing at the same location, even if the pickup and drop is same, the price is little bit different. Even it could be like 5 rupees different or 50 rupees, but the difference is always there. That's based on the this kind of analytics and insights they have, right? So this is what something you can do. You can use data simulator for BigQuery. There is a Python simulator as well. I can share the links so that if you want to build something like this, there is a data, a lot of resources and knowledge base available on Google Cloud documentation, so that you can use. And at the same time, see how we can use the BigQuery. So these are some of the code snippets. I mean, we don't have time to kind of I couldn't take you through this entire code base so that because I mean it will take a lot of time if I run this code and show you the results. But this is a typical way, where you can ingest it. Now these are some of the use cases which businesses or brands are using to for a BigQuery, and also not only BigQuery but BigQuery ML as well. Though we haven't spoken much about BigQuery BQML or BigQuery ML or the BigQuery machine learning today, but it is also very interesting tool, and a lot of businesses are using this. You can see the brands and how they are using it. So what are the use cases they have? For example, there are a lot of retail brands who are using this BQML like Metro or Qubit or Coolblue and so on. They're using it for product recommendation. Like we all know, right, how Amazon recommends products to us, or demanding the forecast at a product or store level. So, like as I said, if there is a season coming or there is a sale is coming, what kind of product will have more demand? So you can build that kind of insights from this as well. How you segment customers for marketing analytics. Let's say, there are a lot of customers. There are customers with a high ticket value who have a more purchasing power, and there is a low ticket value. So, what kind of product should be recommended to whom based on the purchase history, based on the browsing history, or if it is a banking or if it's a banking financial service, how can I detect the credit card fraud, or how can I forecast certain side of transactions? How can I detect the money laundering kind of things? This is all possible. In media, there could be a predict prayer, CLTV, or how you can channel the prediction from marketing campaigns and so on. So there are endless possibilities, but these are some of the use cases with global companies like Deutsche Bank, HSBC, and Gojek are using, or even the Tata Sky, and so on, right? So if you are thinking of something like this, you can definitely consider BigQuery for this. Now, let me take you to another interesting thing, which is the BigQuery Sheets. This is a newly launched feature. Google announced this feature 2 years back in 2019. Sorry, last 2009, yeah, 2019 Cloud Next. What and it is very interesting. I personally like it very well because let's imagine like not everyone is tech savvy and not everyone has the expertise of SQL or database and things, but everyone can use normal Google Sheets, right? The Excel sheet of the Google on the Google Drive. So what does this Google Sheet or the BigQuery in Google Sheet does it? Google has this option or capability to use BigQuery on the sheets. So like how we saw right now that we imported a CSV and then created a table and we started doing some analysis. Here you don't have to do all these things. You just need a Google Sheet, add your data into the Google Sheet, use the data connectors as a BigQuery, and just connect it with some data set or the existing data set you have. Once you have this data set, you can now analyze billions of rows or petabyte of data in the sheet. You don't have to go or you don't have to use any kind of console. You don't need a lot of technical expertise to do this. It's very easy, drag and drop. It's a GUI based, so you don't need any coding expertise as well. You can apply some pivot tables, charts, formulas, and quickly get the insights. Imagine like if you're running in a company where you are IT person, but your CEO is not IT person, right? He doesn't understand coding and all. So how would you give him the access and insights of the data? You can use BigQuery along with Google Sheet, and that's it. You can do that. Right? There is also one more interesting feature in the BigQuery is BigQuery Only. Now, what BigQuery Only does is it allows you to multi-cloud analytics. That means, let's say, if you have a data in Google Cloud and AWS and Oracle, let's say, there are larger organizations which use multiple platforms for their multiple services, and also those are connected with uh, different service providers or the endpoints. So what BigQuery Omni does is it's in public. It's not public beta yet. It's in beta yet. They just announced it last year. But it's very interesting tool for larger organizations to connect their multi-cloud databases and get the insight at single point. So if you have data in AWS and Google Cloud and Oracle, You can use BigQuery Omni, connect them across together with any public cloud, and use the BigQuery interface to get the data or connect the data. Let's say you want to connect AWS data with Google Cloud data and with some other public cloud data. You can do that using BigQuery Omni. So this is also very interesting feature that we have. Apart from that, there is the data Q&A. Now, this is also a very interesting feature which Google announced last year. What does data Q&A does is just like, I mean, you can, the name suggests Q&A, right? The question and answer. What does it mean is you can ask question to your BigQuery data in a natural language, and it will derive the right answer from it. So from the free from text, you can use any business terms also in your text, and it will give you the answer. Just imagine, like, when it is so advanced that you don't even have to do any kind of coding. You don't even need to know any technical terms, not even Excel sheet, but still you can get the insights from it. So, for example, let's say if I ask what was my sales last quarter, if I just type that much, it will go check the last quarter date. It will give you the last quarter's data in a single form. So like for example, just imagine if you had to get the same thing done in SQL, you would have to write a query, select sales from date from this date to this date, and it will give you the result, and then you show. Here, you just have to ask last quarter sales. That's it, and it will give you the answer. Okay, highest selling region or highest better performing region. It will give you the region name. Okay, in this region, it did the better sale. So using a natural language, you can get it. You can derive the insights from BigQuery, and that is the power of BigQuery. You don't have to really go into any technical solutions. Of course, backend as a tech person, we have to build. But imagine if you're building the company, your salespeople doesn't know, right, how to use SQL queries. Your CEO doesn't know how to use SQL or BigQuery. You can build a system and give it to them, and when they ask for any natural language question to that system, it will give you the answer. So CEO can just ask what was my last quarter sales, or which region is performance better, which salesperson is doing better, and so on. So this kind of natural language questions and answer can make business decisions very easy, quick, and fast. I mean, the reports that would take probably a week or so can be like generated in seconds. So that's also possible. Now, what's new in BigQuery? Like as we said, it's a new platform. It keeps evolving. There are a lot of new announcement that Google did a few weeks back. I'm just kind of summarizing it so that if you're reading and if you are interested in this, you can definitely learn more. So these things you can keep in mind. So, for example, this BigQuery table ACL is now available in beta release, or the exports per day, like the data extract that you can do from per day quota that was earlier 10 TB, now it is 50 TB per day. So that is the kind of data that you can export from BigQuery. Now BigQuery is also available in the new regions, which is Belgium, Oregon, and Netherlands. So in these regions now you can run the BigQuery as well. Region is very important when you're in data analytics, because if you need a very faster analytics, your region has to be near to your consumer or your user. So that's why. And apart from that, there are other region-based services which are also available. So for that, regions are also very important when you select. You take care of that region as well. Also, flat pricing was minimum was for 100 slot, but now uh, but now you can increase. Like, so as I said, like you can go for a flat pricing where you give a fixed price, and we charge extra. So if you just go high, you don't have to charge. You don't have to worry. The price is fixed. So you can commit 100 slots and pay for it, and that's it. So you can purchase in that size, that particular form as well. Now, since we have, I mean, I've tried to kind of summarize and cover everything that I can in the BigQuery. But let's say if you want to know or learn more about BigQuery, how would you know get these insights? Of course, it's very easy. Just start with search. Go to Google, type a BigQuery, and again just write anything that you want to know within BigQuery, like BigQuery Omni or BigQuery with Sheets or BigQuery Insertion, BigQuery API, BigQuery ML, machine learning, and you will get a lot of resources. There are a lot of quick labs available. You can learn through that as well. So go through that. There is a huge documentation available from the BigQuery, starting from a quick start to how to use BigQuery, create a specific task into it. There are a lot of tutorials available, API based performances and referrals, web UI, and so on. So you can do that as well. Uh, there is a there are different concepts and tutorials available. Go through that, and endless resources. So you can do that as well. And yeah, that's it. I think I've finished before time. I have kept 10 minutes for Q&A, but I don't know if we have any Q&A. We can take it. Otherwise, I'm fine. Uh, you can reach out to me. So these are some of the links which you can note it down. There are blogs, documentation. There are use cases notebook where you can see a lot of use case that how people have used BigQuery and what they're using with it. Very interesting use cases are there. Just go through it once. Interesting blogs with demos and example. You can check that as well. So that's also very interesting insight. I mean that I would say which people would have, and I would definitely recommend you guys to at least check once. Because once you check it, you would know. And at the end, since we have some time, I would like to show one video to you that how BigQuery was used, or the BigQuery and the BQML was used to predict uh, certain insights from the cricket. Like we all know cricket, right? And people say cricket is the most unpredictable game. You can't predict cricket, right? But now what you can say, yeah, you can predict a cricket match, and you can also predict that okay, there could be a wicket in the next over. Is it possible? I mean, sounds difficult, right? But there was an experiment was done along with Google, and they did something. I just would like to show you that demo, and then once they're done, we can end this session. I'll just I don't know if you have. Yeah. You guys can connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter, wherever, even if you have any questions later also. But let me just share a screen right now. I don't think I'm able to share my video, but yeah, it's a very interesting use case actually that I would like to show you, but I don't think it's happening. So, anyways, maybe next time we can check that out video. It's called AutoML Commentator. The project was AutoML Commentator, where you can just try to run some query analysis on top of it. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that's about it. That's the end of the talk. If you have any questions, feel free to ask on your chat. Maybe moderators can share that with me so I can answer that. Yeah. Over to you, Aarti, and, yeah. Okay, now I think I can share the video. Let me share it once.
brilliant. What an advertisement for the game.
All right, yeah. So this was the they built using AutoML tool where they took some historic data and based on that they started predicting that okay there could be a wicket in the next over or it could be a run out in the next over based on the player's performance and so on. So yeah, you can build something like this amazing technology using GCP and of course BigQuery. Over to you, Aarti, or any moderator. I've done with. If anyone has any question, I can't see in chat, but if anyone has uploaded, you can share it here, and I'll be happy to answer. Or you guys can reach out to me later on LinkedIn or anywhere.
Yes, I would like to thank Mr. Rishabh Vasa for your valuable time and valuable content that was delivered by you. It was a very grateful session for our students also. And on behalf of Parul University, thanks a lot to you, Mr. Rishabh Vasa again. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting.